If the Browns get this wrong, they won't just lose games. They might break Shedeur Sanders forever.
I'm afraid he's going to get on the field in preseason games without a lot of practice reps, and then they're going to ask him to perform these heroic tasks in order to prove that he's worthy of being a starter when he hasn't had enough reps to really get comfortable. That's the kind of battle he's dealing with right now. You don't get enough reps, they play a whole half of a game, and then all of a sudden coaches are going, why are you making that mistake? Why aren't you making that tech? Why are you doing that technique? But if anyone can get it done, it's this kid because he's been trained the right way. But I'm telling you, he is ice skating uphill.
Shedeur Sanders, he's going to start Friday. He'll only have one practice with the ones, and he's going to start. And this is now being called sabotage. And it's like network people. It's sabotage. Cleveland doesn't want him to succeed. Shedeur Sanders has been with the Browns through OTAs, rookie minicamp, and training camp. He knows the playbook, the head coach, the coordinator, and his teammates. And because he only gets one practice with the ones, it's sabotage. You've got to be kidding me. The great ones would consider this an amazing opportunity.
He's vulnerable as a pass blocker. He gets beat to the inside a lot. And he's also what I call, and a lot of other people call, a heel clicker. And what a heel clicker is someone who gets their feet too close together, and now you've lost your base. Now you have this 350-pound offensive tackle that you actually see at times on tape get pushed around. I think the next thing that comes down that really scares me is the weight. I mean, reportedly got up to close to 400 pounds last year.
The Browns are absolutely building for 2027.
What if the team that was supposed to build Shedeur Sanders up is actually the one tearing him down? Think about that for a second. This young quarterback went through one of the most humiliating NFL draft falls in recent memory. He sat there, round after round, watching his name get passed over. And finally, Cleveland gave him a shot, and he delivered. He went 3-4 as a starter, made the Pro Bowl, and showed the whole country he belonged. But here's what nobody is telling you. While Shedeur is out there working his tail off this offseason, the Cleveland Browns may be setting him up to get destroyed in 2026, not because of anything Shedeur did wrong, but because of two massive mistakes happening right now, one with a player already on their roster, and one with a draft pick they might be reaching for way too early. And if they get this wrong, it won't just cost them a season, it could break Shedeur Sanders completely. Stay with me, because this story is about to get real.
Line was absolutely atrocious last year. There was a bunch of sabotagers up there that wasn't blocking anybody at all. They were falling over random blades of grass, not touching anybody. And it appears the Cleveland Browns may be making a mistake here. Here it says, courtesy of Dog Pound Daily, a recent DeJuan Jones development should have Browns fans cautiously optimistic. Okay, here it says the Cleveland Browns aggressively rebuilt their offensive line this offseason.
Let's go back and be honest about something. The Cleveland Browns offensive line last year was a disaster, a complete and total disaster. These guys were falling over each other, missing blocks, letting defenders blow right past them like they weren't even there. Shedeur Sanders was taking hits behind a line that couldn't protect anybody. And yet somehow, this kid kept fighting. But here's the thing about quarterbacks in the NFL. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how tough you are. If the guys in front of you can't hold the line, you will get hurt. You will get rattled. And eventually, you will get broken. So what did the Browns do this offseason to fix it? They traded for a right tackle. They signed a couple of guards. They brought in some veteran depth. Solid moves, smart moves. But here's the problem that has Browns fans genuinely scared right now. They never addressed the left tackle position. The left tackle, the most important position on the entire offensive line, the blindside protector, the last line of defense between a quarterback and a 300-pound pass rusher coming full speed to take his head off. That spot, still wide open, still a massive question mark. And the answer the Browns might be leaning on, it makes absolutely no sense. His name is DeJuan Jones. Now listen, nobody questions DeJuan Jones's heart. Nobody questions his effort. The man has been posting his weight loss journey online. He went from heavier numbers down to 359 pounds. He is out here playing recreational basketball in the offseason, jumping for rebounds, running the court, trying to prove he is ready. And that right there is actually the heartbreaking part, because DeJuan Jones has played in just 24 games across 3 full NFL seasons. 3 years, 24 games, and every single season he has ended up on injured reserve with a lower body injury. Every single one. He is coming off another knee injury right now, another one, and the Browns are potentially considering him as their answer to protect Shedeur Sanders on the blind side.
He oversets, meaning that he's over-aggressive to outside protection. So he opens himself up to an inside move. So, guys like Myles Garrett with the Euro step.
Especially quick guys.
Twitchy guys. He struggles to move his feet.
Yeah.
Also, the weight issue is a thing that will compound the issue because he's bigger. When you get that weight moving one way, it ain't coming back the other way. That's why he's able to be moved around like that. And
playing basketball in the off-season does not change the injury history. Working hard does not erase the pattern. And no matter how much weight this man loses, the reality is brutal. DeJuan Jones simply cannot stay healthy. And betting Shedeur Sanders' career on a guy who has never made it through a full season, that is not a plan, that is a prayer. But wait, it gets worse. Because while the Browns are hoping DeJuan Jones somehow stays healthy, they may also be about to make an even bigger mistake with their number 6 overall draft pick. The 6th pick, one of the most valuable assets any NFL team can have. And there is serious smoke, real, credible smoke from people with actual inside information that Cleveland is targeting Caden Proctor out of Alabama with that pick. And here is where the alarm bells start going off. Multiple analysts who have studied this kid's tape are raising serious red flags. Not small concerns, not minor technique issues, real, legitimate problems that have scouts and football experts genuinely worried. First, the weight. At one point last season, Caden Proctor was reportedly pushing close to 400 pounds. 400 pounds. And before you say that sounds like a big, strong offensive lineman, think about what that means for movement, for quickness, for the split-second footwork a left tackle needs to survive in the NFL. When you are carrying that kind of weight moving in one direction, you cannot change direction fast enough. And pass rushers, elite NFL pass rushers, will eat that alive. Second, the technique. Proctor has a habit of what scouts call oversetting. He gets too aggressive trying to protect the outside, and in doing so, he leaves the inside completely open. And in the NFL, against guys like Myles Garrett who can make moves in either direction in the blink of an eye, that is a death sentence for your quarterback. Third, and this is the one that really stings, multiple evaluators believe that Caden Proctor may not even be a legitimate left tackle at the NFL level. His skill set, his tendencies, his body type, they all point to a guard, a very large, potentially decent interior guard, not a franchise left tackle, not the blindside protector that Shedeur Sanders desperately needs. And yet, the Browns might be taking him 6th overall. 6th overall. The Athletic ranked Proctor as the 23rd best prospect in the entire draft. Other respected boards have him anywhere from 14th to 31st. Not one single credible analyst has him as a top 10 pick. Not one. And yet here Cleveland is, potentially reaching by 15 picks or more for a guy with weight concerns, technique problems, and a position question mark hanging over his head. You want to know what makes this even more painful? This is the same exact mistake the Browns already made with DeJuan Jones. They fell in love with the size. They believed in the potential. They trusted that the coaching staff could fix the issues. And Jones has not stayed healthy for a single full season. Now, they're about to potentially do the same thing again, but this time with their number 6 pick and Shedeur Sanders' blindside on the line. There is an alternative being discussed, a prospect named Kelvin Banks, who some evaluators believe is a much cleaner pick, a more NFL-ready tackle with better mobility and fewer question marks. But instead, the Browns seem drawn to the big, raw project, the guy they think they can develop.
That is actually why I think that there's merit to this, because they love DeJuan.
Well, here, this is the same. It's the same thing. So you can fall in love with the size of the guy and feel like, if you've got George Warhop, I think that they feel like George can coach him up. I think Callahan, we know, is probably the gold standard of offensive line coaches. In talking to various offensive linemen, Warhop's not far behind him. Like, he's very well respected.
Yeah.
So if you,
but Jason, they took DeJuan Jones in the 4th round.
I'm with you. I don't like this.
And maybe they are right. Maybe George Warhop, their offensive line coach, a man who is considered one of the best in the entire business, can mold Proctor into something special. Maybe the weight gets under control. Maybe the technique gets cleaned up. Maybe the oversetting disappears. But maybe is not good enough when you are talking about protecting a quarterback's career. Because here is the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Shedeur Sanders has already survived the humiliation of the draft. He has already survived starting behind a broken offensive line. He has already survived the questions, the doubters, the people who said he only got drafted because of his father's name. He has survived all of it, and he has come out the other side stronger, more focused, and more determined than ever. He is working out like a man on a mission. He reclaimed his number 2 jersey, the number he wore through high school, through Jackson State, through Colorado, the number his father made legendary. And when that announcement came, Shedeur posted 2 simple words: "Thank you, God." His dad Dion commented, "Yes, Lord." A father and a son sharing a quiet moment of pride in the middle of all the chaos. That moment matters because it tells you everything about who Shedeur Sanders is. He is not just playing for a contract. He is not just playing for stats. He is playing to prove something, to himself, to his family, to everyone who doubted him. And the Cleveland Browns owe him a real shot. Not a patched-together offensive line held together with hope and a player who cannot stay healthy. Not a reach pick at number 6 for a guy scouts think might be a guard. Shedeur Sanders deserves real protection, a real plan, a real commitment from this franchise that they believe in him and they are going to build around him properly. Because if they do not, if they cut corners, if they get this draft wrong, if they lean on DeJuan Jones and watch him go down injured again, the consequences will fall on Shedeur. The sacks will come, the hits will come, the bad games will come, and the narrative will shift. People will stop talking about the Browns making mistakes. They will start talking about whether Shedeur Sanders is good enough, whether he was ever really a franchise quarterback. And that right there, that is the betrayal. Not malicious, not intentional, but real. A young man who has poured everything into this opportunity could be set up to fail, not because of anything he did, but because the people around him did not do their jobs. The clock is ticking, the draft is right around the corner, and the decision the Browns make in the next few weeks will define not just the 2026 season, but potentially the entire future of Shedeur Sanders' NFL career. Let's hope they get it right, because if they do not, nobody will be talking about the Browns making mistakes. They will be talking about the one that got away. If this story hit different for you, if you felt that, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is where we talk about the real stories behind the headlines, the stuff that actually matters. Don't miss what comes next.